We are still without a podcast.
Why do we keep finding ourselves here? It's like we're stuck in a time loop.
It's like we've done like 125 attempts. Not a single good idea. They all seem so good until, well, I don't want to say it, but do you think that there's a chance that the problem is that we're the ones doing these ideas?
No,
No, absolutely not.
not at all.
That's stinking thinking.
Yeah. I think when we get the right idea, we'll know it. So,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
We just haven't gotten the right idea yet.
I'm guilty of sometimes getting 10 minutes into an idea and then realizing this isn't the one, and so
Yeah.
maybe part of why we don't just have a not a very good podcast yet is because I don't give 110% every week.
Sorry, I'm swapping out. I'm putting a cushion under my butt.
Okay, yeah. I want you
This
to be
is
comfortable.
just an update. I still am suffering from some sort of a compression fracture in my tailbone. I have not been comfortable in a week now. Listeners to the premium will remember that I did talk about this on the premium episode last week. And yeah, it has, I would say, maybe gotten a little better, but I'm not out of the woods yet. Also, speaking of the woods, well, I'm sorry, I cut you off there.
Oh no. I was owning up to my own shortcomings. So if we can cut that short, I'm a fan of that. Yeah.
Well, I need to address my own shortcomings.
I'm sorry.
Welcome to the Department of Corrections.
That I was such a fool.
This past week's premium episode, Nathan, podcaster, and the summary of films podcast where I try to explain the Harry Potter film franchise without really understanding or having seen it all. Look, I'm sure that I could watch all these movies and then then go back and say, oh, I was wrong about all of this. But I did get something wrong that I myself did know and realized I was wrong. I talked about them making a little homunculus out of a mandrake. And I think that there is a thing like that in Harry Potter in a class, but it's just like they pull it out of a little potted plant.
Yeah.
The one that I was thinking of when I said a squealing little freak, that's the one from Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, well, I think that the
Different
little mandrake thing screams very loudly too when you pull it up out of the pot.
All right. Well, just in the interest of being 100%, I was picturing the Pan's Labyrinth mandrake and not the Harry Potter one. Also, I failed to mention that Lord Voldemort uses a alter ego that's an anagram of his name. It's like Tom Morello or something like that.
That's right.
Anyways, enough about Harry Potter. If you want to hear more of me trying to explain Harry Potter, you can go over to patreon.com/we don't have a podcast yet and sign up to support the show. Did a whole hour's worth of me trying to go through all 7 films plus the Dumbledore movies. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I hurt my butt and I didn't even do a good job of doing a bad job of telling about Harry Potter.
Well, I mean, your butt hurts, and when your butt hurts, where else is your mind but on your butt? I'm wondering, do you have one of those glass tubes that you can fill up with water and then stick some sort of oxygen tube up your nose so that you can just float there and heal yourself without gravity crunching your butt bones even more?
Oh, like go soak in a sensory deprivation tank?
Yeah.
I could, except that, as I mentioned before we started, I cut my hands. I cut them up pretty bad, and that's
Mhm.
not great in the sensory deprivation tank. Just dipping in salt
Yeah.
water with 1,000 little cuts.
Yeah, I would imagine it would take your mind off of butt pain, but put it squarely on cut hand pain.
I did lie down as if I was, one of the Greeks of old on the couch last night, kind of, in repose, like Jack was drawing me like one of his French
Mm-hmm.
girls, and watched The Northman last night. Just on my side, like, yoo-hoo, Mr. Northman. Yoo-hoo. Oh, I get so flustered around the
Yeah.
Northman. Oof. He's so sexy. The way he burns down barns with children inside of them.
Well, he can always make more.
It's very funny that people are like, this movie has a problem. It glorifies, white masculine toxicity. Or the whole movie, you're just like, this guy sucks. Wow. What a piece of shit. Not a cool guy, The Northman. It's a good movie, but I don't think anyone's growing up and being like, man, I want to be just like The Northman. Then again, I
You
wouldn't
don't?
say that about Fight Club, and here we are.
I would imagine, I haven't seen the movie, but I would imagine that there is a whole new generation of toxic males who want to grow up to be just like the Northman.
They all want to grow up to be like some other dumb shit. If it wasn't The Northman, look, sometimes you want to watch a movie and just fantasize about what it would be like to be a completely morally vacuous person out for revenge. I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to lie here like this, and watch the Northman do it. He was bitten by a radioactive north.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait for when Southman shows up in the sequel. You're going to get Neil Young to do the soundtrack. It's going to be great.
It's just, playing Sweet Home Alabama. It's Kid Rock.
Yeah.
He's got a Confederate flag vest on. He's fighting Hamlet. Do you have an idea for a podcast?
Well, I do. And this one is called the Time Capsule Time Capsule.
Ooh,
And
the Time Capsule Time Capsule.
and it would be the podcast itself would be the central time capsule, in which we would talk about other time capsules. Which I'm not entirely sure if we would be creating a new time capsule every single week to sort of let future generations know what that week was about, or if we're going to just track down people who are preparing their own time capsules and then giving them some sort of a grade so that future generations can just listen to this podcast and find out about which podcast or which time capsules suck and which time capsules are kick-ass time capsules.
Okay. So we're collecting time capsules and then putting them all. This is like those Instagram accounts that just steal other people's memes and post them. But we're doing it with time capsules. We're just taking the best. We're aggregating.
I say we'll take as many as we can find that have been produced that week, and we'll pour over them, critique them, but then maybe we make the definitive time capsule of that era being that
Yeah.
week.
we're gonna, yeah. And we can include stuff, maybe not just the best stuff, but also stuff that's like indicative of, oh, people in this era were very stupid. This is what they thought to put in a time capsule. Look at how dumb children are. This kid, he put a picture of LeBron James in the time capsule. Oh, look at this old guy, the mayor of the town. He put his pocket constitution in the time capsule. As if years from now they'll open it up and it'll be the only copy of the Constitution left. Well, this guy put a copy of Action Comics #1 in the time capsule.
Yeah. I wonder why more people don't put incriminating evidence into time capsules.
Yeah, it's just the body of Jean Benet Ramsey. Put it in the time capsule. All
that was already
murder
in a time
victims
capsule.
who get buried, that is kind of a time capsule.
Yeah.
A shallow grave is a time capsule. Someday future generations will figure out who murdered this person.
Honestly, I think that this is a plot to an hourly detective show that I haven't seen yet, that the murder weapon's in a time capsule that was being sealed. But that's not going to happen. This is going to be a nice podcast where nobody's going to get killed and no crimes are going to be done. This is going to be fun stuff that goes into a time capsule. Like, I don't know. I haven't done a time capsule since 1995. In my experience, you put some pawgs in there, but whatever the pawg of now.
Fat ass white girls.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a crime. So, no.
Maybe they want to go in the time capsule and there's plenty of food and music for them to shake their asses to.
I don't know. Maybe they should just be featured on POG Pogs.
Ooh, Pog.
Think about that
Pogs.
slam in action.
God damn.
But other things that could go in there, I'm going to say no body parts or bodily fluids. That's going to be my first thing that I'm going to say we aren't doing.
No, like baby teeth.
Can you clone a fresh baby from its tooth?
I think so.
Oh,
that
yeah,
might
they can come in there.
That's morally. I mean, I don't know. In the
maybe in
6
some
billion
of these
years from now, someone's making their own Jurassic Park, but it's just babies.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's how this iteration of the human race ain't gonna make it. But if we make lots of time capsules that have lots of baby teeth in them, we could maybe be a future species monster.
Yeah.
And think about if they were even smaller and we were dinosaur sized, and then they'd bring us back and have little shock collars around us, and how fun it would be to just
octopuses are the new, octopus scientists. We're so interested in whether or not they could bring back babies. They never stopped to question whether or not they should. Oh, and now the babies have got a taste for octopus.
Mm-hmm.
It's delicious. All right, I have an idea.
Okay.
This one is called E Twoibus Unum.
Okay, what's that?
It's Latin for out of two. Well, that's not right. It's out of tuibus, one. And a tuibus is us. Or rather, it's our two halves of the recording. Little peek behind the curtain. Since the pandemic started, we started recording remotely from our respective homes. And then it turned out that was a lot more convenient than having to meet up and record twice a week. So we just kept doing it. Anyway, so this would be a podcast where we make it even easier to record, where we don't record at the same time. Whenever we have an hour, we just sit down and say stuff. And then I'll just put the two files together and see what happens. So what we could do right now, just to test this out, is just turn down the sound on your laptop so you can't hear what I'm saying, and I'll do the same. And we'll set a timer for 1 minute.
Okay.
So that we don't just accidentally do this forever. Where's the timer? God damn it. Oh, I can just look at my watch. All right, go.
Well,
you do anything interesting this week?
So I'm just going to talk more about that glass tube full of water that I think that you should use to fix your back.
I got
I
this.
think that it's supposed to have.
You know that they
that salt
Costco
water
has their own
the cuts in your hands. I think that
brand of beer,
nutrient
the Kirkland Signature Session IPA.
And,
it's not bad.
It could probably
and it's not too strong.
Well.
Doesn't get you fucked up like some of those other IPAs.
I'm already starting
that you
to
might get
worry that this one isn't going to be the best because
the liquor store or whatever.
I'm already thinking about filibustering, and I do.
Hey, what's your favorite song?
So that's probably what my side of the show would be. It's just finding fun names to crank call. Maybe I would do some.
I don't agree.
I don't know, but it feels like it's.
I think that those lyrics are a little sexist.
Now,
and we're done. Hello?
Yep.
All right. We did it. And now we'll have to wait to see how it turns out.
I'm going to hazard a guess. Super well.
Super good.
Yeah, real good.
This is the one that takes off. If this is the thing that finally rocketed us to the tops of the charts, made us independently wealthy, we could quit our jobs and just do it. Imagine. We could record multiple episodes in the span of an afternoon. We just have your recordings whenever you feel like recording. And then whenever I could be taking a shit. Get up in the middle of the night. I gotta take a shit. I'm just sitting there on the toilet, talking into a microphone.
The only thing with it is I tend to, when I'm not having a conversation and I'm just speaking my internal monologue, whatever is most immediate to me is probably what I'm going to talk about. So I couldn't do it while taking a shit because then the show would be about the shit.
Hey, maybe that's the thing. Maybe we do a show about a shit. We did do one where we both were taking a bath.
That's true, but I didn't shit in the bath.
No, but perhaps we could do a sequel to that where we both take a shit for an hour. About halfway through, it becomes a podcast about getting hemorrhoids.
Yeah, I'd probably have to juice for that to happen. I'm talking carb loading and then lots of X-Lax.
Just you're gonna do it. It's gonna be in 3D.
Just an incredible and also smell-o-vision.
Oh no! All right, do you have another idea for a podcast?
I do. This one we would need a little help with. It's called bet-a-tete, like tete-a-tete, head-to-head conversation in French, but beast to head. So we would we would have an animal third mic in this show.
Okay.
And possibly they're a handler so that they don't run away from the table. But I'd like to have some candid animal noises during the show, and possibly someone to talk about their animal and their little eccentricities and what they like and what they don't like.
All right. Bet-a-tete. I was thinking that it was either going to be a gambling thing or Bette Midler. But beast to head. Now, are we just going to go for like a panting dog, or do we want to get a little more like bold and brash? See if we can get like a talking bird.
If you
Or like
know anybody who has a talking bird, that would be perfect. But I figured a dog would be the safest bet, and I figured you have a particularly interesting dog that probably wouldn't want to sit there for an hour, but you could make him.
We could make him do it. Yeah.
Just set him in your lap in front of the microphone.
Oh my God. I would get so scratched up trying to keep him in front of a microphone for an hour. I do know there is a bird sanctuary about an hour south of here that I have been to before. And they do have a whole double wide full of abandoned talking birds.
Now is this a place that children get sent as punishment if they're bad at the bird sanctuary?
Well, I think you could ask my kids how they felt about it. I don't think that they felt like it was a pleasant experience. They kind of the whole visit to this animal place, they weren't crazy about it, but grandma wanted to go, so we all went. And we did see some very interesting stuff. You know, like a documentary about like a rich person who goes insane. No one's done one about this rich person who went insane yet, but yeah, there is in like southwestern Kentucky, there is a
Gray
house where
Gardens now with birds.
A rich lady slowly let wild animals take over her home until it just turned into an animal sanctuary. And you walk in and it's like, oh yeah, and this was the living room, but now there's a whooping crane.
Is it
he
like
lives here now?
Is it like you're in Jumanji?
Yeah, it's Jumanji if Jumanji all took place inside of like a fancy house from the 70s that hasn't had the air conditioning on in 15 years and is full of animals. But then they also they had to sequester all of the talking birds because they're mostly screaming and shouting birds. There was one that was just like, motherfuck, fuck, fucking bitch, cunt, fuck. You son of a bitch, you fucking bitch. Just saying stuff like that the whole time. I saw another that was like he just didn't have any feathers, and my father-in-law goes, hey, ooh, look at that one's ready for the pot. He was gonna cook and eat the the cockatoo with no feathers.
Yeah.
Man, he's not the type of guy who actually wants to cook and eat a cockatoo, but he is the kind of guy who will just all of a sudden say something demented like that. It always tickles me so much. Ooh, that one's ready for the pot. Bet a tet.
Yep. And another, I guess we could go for. I was thinking of it as beasts as just regular animals, but I guess we could go for more magical beasts if you wanted to.
If we could get a mandrake,
yeah,
just the whole time.
Really, even some of your lower level, like I'd take a little goat man.
Oh yeah.
Feeding him tin cans over there.
Oh, he's
trying
the top
to
half
avoid
is a goat. His bottom half is a man.
Yeah,
it's nature's cruelest mistake. He can eat a can, but then he has to shit it out through a human ass. What do you think is the wildest animal that's not a cryptid? I know that at one point gorillas were cryptids.
I think most animals were one because don't they say that the unicorn derives from like a rhinoceros or something or other, something that was misinterpreted from a text only description.
Oh yeah. There's there are some very funny pictures from like those old medieval texts where they just draw shit in the margins. They had no idea like what an elephant looked like. They're just going off of what someone else described. They're like, yeah, that's probably it. A lot of cats with man's faces.
Yeah, if we could get any of those sorts of things on the show, that'd be a big get. But I think it would be good too, even if it was just as long as it's a talkative animal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can't have. There are a lot of cats aren't very talkative. Snakes don't make a lot of noise.
Snakes, yeah. They rattle.
Yeah, I guess a snake, as far as a reptile goes, would be better than most of the other reptiles because it's
get a lot of noise. Rooster, you get a rooster.
Most of the birds would be some of the best. Birds and dogs are the best guests I can think of.
Yeah. Well, what if we got one of those dogs where someone has built a keyboard for the dog? Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
Where the dog has a bunch of buttons that he can press, and it's like, you look, you look outside, food, you outside, look.
I think that's the beast we need to get most of all.
Hell of keyboard a guest dog. That'd be.
Would we have to give him? Would we just let him do the soundboard then? He'd have his own proprietary podcasting soundboard?
Yeah, I guess so. You, look, you. Podcast.
Batman.
We give him a soundboard. It's just all of the things that we like to talk about. O.J. Simpson. Batman.
Yes.
The Highlander. What? We never talk about the Highlander. How did he do that?
I don't know. If he brought the Highlander up all on his own, I would find that worrying. Because there can only be one. It's most of the things that I like to talk about, you know, like Batman doesn't kill. And he probably wouldn't be the wildest about there being another Batman, but I don't think he would have to kill them.
Yeah.
I'd be worried that keyboard dog would be coming for us.
It is wild that the what is it? The log line? Was that what it would be? There can only be one. And you're like, well, they made several of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you just say, well, the rest of the movies don't count because they're stupid, even in the first one, that's not true. There are many Highlanders. There's the guy that attacks him in the parking lot of the wrestling. I love that the movie starts with the Highlander as just at a WWF match. And he's like, I got to get out of here early. I got to beat the rush. And there's another Highlander waiting for him in the parking lot. It's a good place to look for Highlanders, though. I got to admit.
I usually, when I'm looking for Highlanders, I like to get to high ground.
Well, he saw Rowdy Roddy Piper on TV and thought there was a chance that he was the Highlander. All right. I got another idea here.
What do you have there?
This is called In Search of the Ultimate. And This would be kind of like a bracketed contest. You know, where you have like
a tournament?
Yeah, like a tournament. Yeah. But instead of having a set number of combatants in this tournament, this would be a perpetual round robin where we have the Podtron create a procedurally generated list of things, people, places, feelings, ideas, and literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to choose which one of them is better.
I like that
until
idea.
we find the ultimate. There can be only one.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Well, we have to come up with the parameters of every fight because you're saying of everything. You said places, so it's and things. So it's a jaguar versus a swimming
Heaven.
Okay.
Jaguar versus heaven. All right, let's go. Jaguars. One of the most ferocious killing machines on the planet versus heaven. Streets of Gold.
Oh. You say so? Streets of Gold, huh?
Hmm.
You sure that those aren't just gold-plated clay bricks?
They might be.
Maybe
Also,
a jaguar scratches them and you can see it's just paint. Maybe.
Oh, wait. Are we...
That's why I was saying we need parameters because I'm just using the...
I'm sorry. I was saying that we are doing a thought experiment about which one is better, not which one would win in a fight.
Okay.
Although I'm interested about which one would win in a fight, a jaguar or a swimming pool. Can they swim or just, oh yeah, no, jaguar fell in the swimming pool. Just, you got that net and you're trying to scoop the jaguar out of the pool.
Well, he probably end up where all the dead leaves are in that little cubby hole.
You unscrew that plastic thing on the side of the pool. And, oh, yeah. Another jaguar got into the filter.
Okay. Well, jaguar versus heaven, which is better? I've seen a jaguar. I haven't seen heaven. I think a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, so I'm going jaguar.
See, I would say that, but if you really love a jaguar, you're going to have to eventually, say goodbye to that jaguar. He's going to pass on. He's mortal. Or she's mortal. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Women can be jaguars too.
Yeah.
But in heaven, nobody's going anywhere. And eventually, the jaguar is going to show up there.
Yeah. But think about this. A jaguar, kind of bitey. In heaven, you don't die. So the jaguar can continue to bite you for all eternity. Whereas my jaguar wife on Earth will eventually just eat all of me and digest me, and I'll become jaguar poop.
Now, I never thought about this, but they do in the Bible. They say that in heaven, that the lion lies with the lamb, and I always assumed that it meant that there's no violence in heaven. But perhaps it is just that the lion.
I think that is much more of a as time stretches on into infinity, we're going to get freaky with it.
Yeah, the lamb is literally just an everlasting gobstopper for a lion in heaven. He's just slurping up his intestines like spaghetti.
Yeah, like every never-ending intestine. Sheep brain is replenished before he can finish swallowing the last one.
My God. Anyway, you see where this is going.
But yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, let's go to the hotline.
Okay.
Folks, if you have an idea for a podcast, you can reach out to us either at our email, we don't have a podcast yet, at gmail.com, or the podcast hotline, 702-PODCASP with a P at the end. That's 702-763-2277. We tried to get podcast, but it wasn't available, so we got podcast. Anyways, we have an email here this week from Gabe. Gabe writes, Hey guys, just had an idea for a podcast called The Smug News. Just reporting the news, but being smug about it.
Okay.
Well, I think it should have been called The Smug Report. You know, like the smog report, like when you watch the news in the morning and they're like, and if you're heading out on the freeway, just be aware the smog is bad today. This is the smug news is essentially just that show John Oliver has, or the old Daily Show, or Tucker Carlson. Maybe we do, instead of some deeply partisan smug news,
Mm-hmm.
we just cover the lighter news, but we're smug about it. None of this, the Democrats are doing this, the Republicans are doing that.
Well, I'm on CNN.com right now, and Pete Davidson said an emotional goodbye on Saturday Night Live last night.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Emotional for who? Goodbye
yeah.
to my cultural relevance.
My smugness, like, I'm gonna have to really figure out what I stand for so that I can be smug about those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm just realizing there's so many landmines that we have to watch out for to not be just doing someone else's show. Because if you're smug about the liberals, then you're just doing Tucker Carlson.
Mm-hmm.
If you're smug about the conservatives, you're just doing the Daily Show. If you're smug about celebrity news, you're just doing the Soup.
Yeah.
I think that we would have to just do like local dog bites man news stories.
I think that we've had like a similar idea one time where we were going to get the local newspaper and do local news reports.
We did do an episode where it was all just local news report. And we did get pretty smug with some of the stuff. There was a news story about a guy who made a SpongeBob Jeep, I recall.
Yeah, that's right.
There was a guy who opened a sports cafe.
Yes, but they were only selling coffee on the street corner because it was
they just basically had a lemonade stand.
Yeah.
With a big screen TV showing sports inside that you couldn't go in and watch. I wonder what that guy's up to. I believe that also in that news story, there was something about how he was like, he'd written like a book about alternative medicine. Big surprise there. Hey, I did it. Smug news.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I probably said something very similar the first time that we did that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to the Podtron.
Okay.
Folks, the Podtron 4500 is our last line of defense. Our first ace in the hole. It's an artificial intelligence that we trained by giving it a list of the most popular podcasts, and it analyzes them and generates a list of other podcast titles that perhaps we could be the hosts of. Podcasts like Death of Me. And this could just be a podcast about what we think will be the death of us or what is killing us currently.
Okay. And can we also just line out in a ideal death scenario?
Oh yeah. This is just a podcast about death. We are confronting the Reaper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to aim for the death pinnacle. I'll probably fall somewhere further along the line, but
yeah, I don't imagine. I think I said it one time on here that the way that I would like to, if I could choose the way I die, it would be in a skydiving accident where I land on whoever the current president of the United States is. But there's plenty of other ways that would be fine to go out. Being
Large
smashed.
explosions are pretty good.
Explosions are good, especially if it's the kind of explosion that just vaporizes you.
Yeah.
Standing at ground zero of a nuclear explosion. That'd be pretty dope. You don't want to be far enough away that you do the Terminator 2 skeleton hanging onto the chain link fence. I feel like that would suck. Your bones are capable of hanging onto a fence as the skin and meats are stripped from your body by the heat of a nuclear blast.
Mm-hmm. I think I might want to chain a few together. Like maybe I'm already dead by the time I get to the ground zero of the blast. I'm thinking maybe either rocket skates or rocket skis could be involved. Ooh. And possibly also if I'm going to do the nuclear attack, I want to actually be hanging from the missile. I guess kind of like the Doctor Strangelove. Yeah.
Yahoo!
But I was picturing doing like a monkey bars along it, and not a. I feel like they're actually larger than
in the movie.
I think so. That's roughly the size of like one of those mechanical bulls that are in all the cool bars, right?
You know, I don't rightly know how big the bomb has to be, you know? Cuz I know that like the modern, they have like the intercontinental ballistic missiles, and those are pretty big, I think. Although
I'm just wondering if I could comfortably get my legs around them, or if I need to just hang out.
Yeah. You could like strap yourself to it.
Like duct tape myself to it.
A helmet or goggles or something, because the wind would be... Honestly, yeah, if you're talking about a surface-to-surface nuclear missile,
mm-hmm.
you're going to need a spacesuit. Those things go pretty high up in the air.
Okay. And as far as the eye
probably
things
get like
go,
a Red Bull sponsorship.
Yeah. Well, you could probably do like a VR headset, or that would keep the wind out of your eyes, and you could game while you were well, but then again, I'm not going to have the free range of body movement to play with those, but I guess I could still do a virtual boy.
Yeah.
I just have to take myself where my hands are free.
For death row inmates, if we gave them a VR headset so that they could choose in which way they would die in a simulation, and then we just give them the lethal injection, but they're in their headset, they're being torn apart by a pack of wild dogs or being fired into the sun. It's a kind of a choose your own execution. But we're just, and it's sponsored by Meta.
I think I went the Deep Blue Sea one. Now that I think about it. Hunted by super smart sharks.
The shark that can't get Alzheimer's. They should make a sequel where it turns out that while they did make the sharks super smart, they also gave the sharks Alzheimer's. And it's just like a sad movie where the shark doesn't recognize his own family anymore.
Could it be like a combination of Deep Blue Sea and that Robert De Niro and Robin Williams movie Awakenings?
I was thinking it could be a combination of Deep Blue Sea and that movie Robot and Frank with Frank Langella. Mm-hmm. is a man with dementia who has a helper robot. But maybe instead he has a super smart shark.
Well, if you did Awakenings, you'd start out with the sharks have dementia, and they're just actually vegetative and just sitting there with a dumb look on their face. until Robin Williams comes along and gives them an experimental medicine that slowly brings them out of this condition that they're in. And then they swim around and kill everything for a while until you realize that the medicine has it loses its effectiveness after a short period of time. So then the sharks go back into the vegetative state, but fully aware that it's happening to them and that they're losing all of their prey.
So kind of a Flowers for Algernon, but with sharks.
Yeah. And even sadder.
Blah, blah.
Okay.
All right. Do you have an idea? Do you have an idea from the Podtron?
The Podtron has this idea called Rock and a Hard Place with Dennis Miller. Which I'm guessing that if Dennis Miller were doing a show with us, it would be like he was in between a rock and a hard place. So one of us could be rock and the other one could be hard place.
And we're giving Dennis Miller a hard time.
I assume that he's going to come to the show with an idea of what he wants the program to be, and I think that it's our job to try to derail that at every.
We're stymieing him at every turn, and bullying him. We're bullying him and calling him like a nerd every time he tries to make some sort of obscure historical or cultural reference.
Mm-hmm.
We could also maybe just physically bully him.
Oh yeah. I think that we can probably end most episodes with an atomic wedgie.
Oh yeah, just we bring that jaguar into the studio.
Okay.
And we just keep teasing him. We got it on a rope, but we just keep letting it get really close and swiping its paws at him. It's like, you gotta watch out with that thing, babe.
Is this jaguar? Is it like you're watching a stage performance of Peter Pan, and there's just a pulley and a rope, and somebody gives it a heave, and the jaguar goes flying out over the audience?
Maybe that's what it is. We put Dennis Miller in a Peter Pan costume, and then we fly him around over a stage, but he's up there singing about,
and tonight's performance, the role of Captain Hook will be played by a live jaguar.
Yeah. We don't tell him that ahead of time. And then he just comes swinging out, talking about his shadow, and then, wow, here comes the jaguar. It's leaping at it. It takes one of his shoes off as he swings past. God, I love this idea, and now I'm mad that there's no way we could get our hands on Dennis Miller or a jaguar.
Well, it could be worse. Imagine if we had one and not the other.
God. Which would be worse to have without the other? Dennis Miller without a jaguar, or a jaguar without Dennis Miller?
If we had a jaguar, we'd have, some other show.
Yeah. I feel like a jaguar seems like it'd be a bit much to have it, at all. Like if you came over to my house and I was like, hey, don't go down in the basement, and you're like, why? And then you just hear like clawing at the basement door. But then imagine if you just heard Dennis Miller trying to riff on things from my basement. That's worse.
Yeah.
It's much worse having Dennis Miller down there. All right, I have another Podtron here.
Okay, what do you got?
This is the Podtron suggested the Astronaut Wives Club.
The Astronaut Wives Club.
Yes.
Was that a Johnny Depp movie? The Astronaut's Wife?
Now, I'm just realizing that I picked this one because I thought that I was thinking of the Time Traveler's Wife.
Yes, The Astronaut's Wife stars Johnny Depp and Charlize Theron. It's from 1999.
Yeah. Well, I was like, oh, we could do this because now there's that series based on, but I'm thinking of the Time Traveler's Wife, not the Astronaut's Wife. Well, we could still do this. It'd just be a rewatch, a recap, just us talking about the Astronaut's Wife. Or maybe we do our own idea because it's wives.
I've never actually seen it before, but
It's a psychological thriller, as I recall.
it is. Yes. Mm, just a second here. I'm trying
What's
to.
happening to you?
The person who did the score for The Astronaut's Wife is George S. Clinton. And I
Oh,
am
yeah,
trying
no.
to figure out if that is the George Clinton.
This happened to us once before.
It did, didn't
There
it?
was some other movie that he did the score for, and we thought that it was the same George Clinton, but it isn't.
Yes.
What movie was that?
It might have been Mortal Kombat.
That's what it was.
I've been going through his discography trying to figure out again. Ah, damn it. Oh, and also Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, possibly.
Yeah. He's done a few, but I remember we had to go to the Department of Corrections on that because we were like, George Clinton did the score for Mortal Kombat.
It's still. I'm disappointed all over again.
He did the score for Hellbound with Chuck Norris. Now, I know I have that movie on DVD somewhere, and it's going to drive me insane trying to figure out where it is now. Because now I have to watch Hellbound. Anyways, this one I thought that this was the Time Traveler's Wife, and that we could do a recap show about the series that's just come out about the adaptation of that novel.
Okay.
There is the movie that came out with. Did you hear that?
No.
There was like a deep rumbling that came up from my tummy, and I tried to stop it, but it just sounded like the Balrog was about to attack Gandalf and the boys. I'm sorry. That Eric Bana movie from the early 2000s, I believe. The Time Traveler's Wife.
I vaguely remember that as well, but I have not seen The Time Traveler's Wife nor The Astronaut's Wife.
Well, I think in the spirit of fairness, we can't undo what the Podtron has done. This error is on me. I thought it was the Time Traveler's Wife, and the Podtron wants us to do the Astronaut's Wife. So
yeah. Well, maybe this time it's the Astronaut's Wife, but maybe what this podcast is we take a unsequeled film that time has sort of left behind, and we figured out how to revitalize it and relaunch it as a franchise.
yeah.
We're not talking because it's the Astronaut's Wives, right? Usually your first move when going with the sequel, it was singular before, now it's plural, a la Aliens, or 102 Dalmatians, another example. Another way is superlatives, so it could be astronaut wifer, and then astronaut
Wifist.
Yeah. And those are just a few little tricks that we could use on this to get a little more life out of these properties.
Yeah. We could do all kinds of stuff with this. Do you have another idea from the Podtron?
I do. This one, I possibly we could get George S. Clinton on the podcast for this one. It's soul head music. Two types of music that don't normally get mixed together that are going to get mixed together.
Soul head music?
Yeah. So it's good. Just it's gonna have some really pretty singing, and then a very very long jam, I guess.
Oh, so head music is like jam band,
Yeah,
like Deadhead. Okay.
yeah. Your Grateful Dead, your Fishes, your
I was thinking I was trying to figure out what head music, but all I was thinking
yeah. I
of
mean,
was
it
like
can be
stuff that gets
confusing
stuck
because
in
you
your
do
head.
use your head to listen to all types of music.
It's true. Well, maybe the one exception is soul music. You got to feel it in your bones.
Mm. No, that would be bone music.
Bone music.
Yeah.
They should have called it bone music.
Would that just be like when you see in caveman cartoons where they're banging on a drum with dino bones?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
Or
your Bam Bam.
a spooky skeleton playing the xylophone on his
Ooh,
rib
yeah.
cage.
Yeah.
That's also bone music, where there's just a skeleton dancing, and then the sound of someone playing like a saw with a violin bow. That sound,
Hmm.
that's bone music, and Bone Thugs and Harmony, also bone music. Soul head music, you could get De La Soul and Talking Heads to do a album
Yeah,
together.
that would be pretty good.
You could also get
Collective Soul and um, Buckethead. Maybe that's what it is. It's just remember the television program Crossroads,
no.
where two artists from different genres would have a concert and play each other's songs.
Oh, I don't know about this, but I like it.
It was late '90s, early 2000s. It might have been on CMT. I think a lot of it was country, but
Mm.
you would
Well,
get ones like I want to say there was a Ryan Adams and Elton John episode.
I was just thinking about how, while it sounds fun in theory, this is an unintentional competition show.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have every episode is gonna have that awkward situation, like where Billy Joel said in an interview, like, "Oh, I think Elton John is uh, one of the greatest pianists, one of the greatest singers of our time. I have so much respect for him." And then they asked Elton John, and he was like, "Billy Joel, yeah, he's Mr. Piano Man." Boom! That's how I would like to go out. Death of me. I want to die of embarrassment because Elton John said something dismissive of me in an interview. I would probably actually kill myself if I woke up tomorrow and I had a notification. Oh, someone wrote a review of your podcast on iTunes. It's just Sir Elton John. It's 2 thumbs down. Pu. Ah.
Do you think that he would have? If I could tell that it really was Sir Elton John, I think I would be honored that he took the time to give us a bad review. But if it was clearly just dictated to where his assistant was being
Oh
like,
yeah,
Mr. John said that don't ever play
Mr.
this podcast in my general vicinity again.
Mr. John. Oh, is Mr. John there?
I
All right,
imagine that's what all of his underlings call him. Yes,
excuse me, Mr. John.
Sir John,
Oh yeah, I guess they call him Sir.
surgeon.
Like a Sir John. All right. Here's what we got this week. We got the Time Capsule, E Twoibus Unum, Bet a Tet, In Search of the Ultimate, The Smug News, Death of Me, Rockin' a Hard Place with Dennis Miller, The Astronaut Wives Club, and Soulhead Music.
Well, when you have a title like In Search of the Ultimate, all the others look a little bit wanting.
I do think that In Search of the Ultimate is probably the strongest. I mean, after Rockin' a Hard Place with Dennis Miller, which I think is outside of our production capabilities at this time. So. We can put this one on the shelf. We're saving it for a rainy day. If we ever get Dennis Miller, we'll do Rockin' a Hard Place with Dennis Miller. But until then, In Search of the Ultimate, I think, is the winner this week. Agreed. Folks, if you want to hear In Search of the Ultimate, you can go to patreon.com/we don't have a podcast yet. There you will get a bonus episode every Friday when you sign up to support the show, as well as access to the vault. All of the paywalled bonus episodes from the last, do I even want to do the math? 3, 4, how long have we been doing this podcast now?
Oh, boy.
It feels like it's been a year, but it's because most of it has been during the years that don't count.
I feel like it started in fall of 2019.
I think that's right. So we've been at it for a while. Good Lord. Anyways, they're all there. There's one where we try and figure out which animal would win in a fight. That's a good one. That's a two-parter. Animal Fantasy Battle Tournament. You can go check that out. Anyways, in the meantime, call into our podcast hotline, 702-PODCASP. Leave us an email. We don't have a podcast yet at gmail.com. Write us a review on iTunes and follow us on Instagram at WDHAPY. I'm Nathan P. Woodard.
And I'm Andrew James Estes.
Good night. God damn it. It never works.